Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Kessel, and welcome back to STEAM Enrichment. Are you ready for a new lesson? Let's get started. Come on. Okay, this week we are continuing to talk about Google Slides, and we're going to do our first lesson. Last week you did your Google Slides pre-test, and we saw what skills you already have. Now that I have graded those and seen what you know and what you don't know, I'm going to teach you some new things, okay? So like every lesson, we're going to start with our STEAM affirmation first. So I want you to look at how boring this is and how cool this looks. I'm going to teach you how to do all this stuff, okay? Let's get started. Please remember, these affirmations are positive things you say about you. Say it out loud, say it proud. Repeat after me. I am smart. I am kind. I am brave. If I think creatively, I can solve any problem. Because I am capable. When things get difficult, I don't give up. I have grit. I'm an important part of my family. I'm an important part of this class. I'm an important part of this world. I matter. I can make a difference. I am ready to learn. Great job, boys and girls. Okay, let's take a look at this Google slide. Do you see how it has this background of outer space with the stars? And we have all these text boxes, and each of them has a different font and a different size and a different color, and they come out at different times. That is so much cooler than this boring slideshow. So today, these are the things I am going to teach you. And we're going to take this slideshow and jazz it up and make it look a lot cooler, a lot more professional and grown up. So at the end of this lesson, this is what you should be able to do. These are the skills you should have. Connect your Schoology to Google Drive. Most of you have done this. Some of you have not. I'm going to show you just in case. I'm going to show you how to open your Google slideshow from Schoology, how to change the theme of your slideshow, how to change fonts, how to change font size, how to type in a text box, and how to submit your work on Schoology. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you right now how to split your screen on a Chromebook. So what I mean when I say splitting your screen, I'm on a MacBook right now, not a Chromebook. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it so you can have the video on one side and your work on the other. So you can look at two things at once. So you can be watching Mrs. Kessel's video and pause it on one side and then come over here and do your work on the other. Now on my MacBook, I have an Apple computer. All I have to do is make the two tabs smaller, and then I can drag the tabs back in together. So it's pretty simple on a MacBook. For a Chromebook, which most of us have, it's a little different. So let's see how to do that on a Chromebook.
Hi everyone, this is Brad. If you would like to have a split screen on your Chromebook, but you don't want to use an extension, here are two ways to do it. You can just double tap right next to the next tab, and what will happen is it'll split it in half. Then you can drag your one tab over. You can see you have a split screen. If you want to bring it back, you can just drag it back over and then double tap right there, and you have it back to your full screen. Another way to do it is you can hit the Alt, and then you can use the brackets. So if you want to come up with the left side, hit the left bracket, right is the right bracket. And if you want to bring it back, you can just double tap, and there you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, boys and girls. So you can see I have embedded this video right into my slideshow. That is another skill we will get to another week. But how he said to split your screen on a Chromebook, and it's not going to work on mine because it's not a Chromebook, but up in the top, these are your tabs. Right now I have 4 tabs open. In the blank space, I would just double tap, double click, 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 okay? And that will split your screen over to one side, and then you can drag a tab over to the other side. It doesn't work on mine because I'm not on a Chromebook. Or the way I like doing it when I'm on the Chromebook is I can use my keyboard shortcuts. I hold down Alt, which is A-L-T, and that's on both sides of the space bar. You just pick one. And then the bracket, which is next to the letter P, okay? So I hold down Alt and press the bracket, and then that moves half of my screen. So you can move your screen onto one side and pull a zoom up. You can put your screen on one side and a video on the other side. And that way you can see 2 things at once, which is more like in the classroom when I'm watching the teacher writing on the board and I can see my work in front of me. So it's more like real class, okay? So if you don't have a MacBook, you don't have a Chromebook, you have something else, just Google how to split screen on and then write your type of computer and it will tell you how to do it, okay? So now let's move into Schoology. So I am in Mrs. Kessel's Week 8 Google Slides Lesson 1 folder. That's where we should all be, okay? So to watch this video, you had to go into there. So once again, you watched my video in the purple button. Now you're in the blue one. And you saw this folder. We are going to be talking about wild animals. And when you open it, you have to watch this video or you won't be able to open the next thing. You have to get the green check mark. Okay, so each week if you're saying, I can't see the assignment, Mrs. Kessel, it's because you didn't do the first step. Okay, so make sure you watch the whole video and then you'll be able to move into the lesson. So you open this up. And this is where your slideshow is going to be that I already started for you. So it looks like this, and you can see the rubric, how I'm going to grade you. And it says, while you're watching Mrs. Kessel's video, you will work on your own slideshow. Make sure you split your screen, which I just showed you how to do, and pause the video as needed. Send Mrs. Kessel an email or Schoology message if you have questions. So what I want you to do is, as we go through each step, I'll show you how to do it, and then you pause me, and you do it on your screen, and then you click play, and let me explain the next one, and then you pause me, and do it on your screen, and you can always rewind if you need to see how to do something again, okay? So up here it says assignment, and then it says my document. You click on my document, and that opens your slideshow, and your slideshow should be right here. Okay, so this person has already connected their Google Drive to Schoology. If you have not connected your Google Drive to Schoology, instead of seeing your slideshow, you will get a message that says that it's not connected. So I am going to also post under this video another video that shows you how to connect your Google Drive to Schoology, okay? So if you have not done that yet, if this is your first time on Schoology doing something like this, pause this video, watch that other video to connect your Google Drive. I can't show you this right now because this student already has hers connected and mine is already connected. So you have to watch that video, okay? But once you're in there, you're going to see a slideshow that looks like this. It's 3 pages, 3 slides, has the title slide, this slide, and a blank slide, okay? And sometimes when we are on Schoology, it makes it really small. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to edit. And it's going to pop our slideshow out into Google Slides. Okay, so now it's like full size. So if I go back to Schoology, it's still there, and that's where I'll click submit. But I'm going to work in Google Slides where I have more space. Okay, so the first thing I've shown you the first thing, which is to pop out your slideshow. Next thing I'm going to do is change my theme. I don't like all this boring white. So what I'm going to do is up here, and this is what I call the ribbon. I'm going to click on the button that says theme. And when I do that, I have choices. I have these choices. So I'm going to choose one that I like. You can pick any one you want. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to pick one that I like. I think I like this one today. And you'll notice now my slides look a little different. They have this blue. It automatically changed the font for me. My font is different, okay? And it moves some things around. If I don't like that, I can always come up to my ribbon and click undo. If you ever mess up something, just click undo. So I had some kids say, oh, I deleted this slide, or I did this and I don't know how to fix it. Just click the undo arrow that points backwards. Click that and it'll fix it, okay? You might have to click it a couple times if you did a lot of things. So maybe I don't like that one. Oops. I can choose any one I want. It's up to you. Just find one that you enjoy, that you think fits your personality or fits your presentation. It's going to be about your favorite wild animal, so just pick any one, okay? I'm going to stick with this one. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to change the font. So I like this, but I want my letters to look different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything in this text box, and then I'm going to come up to the top and I see my font right here. If your theme menu is in the way, you can just close it, and then that gives you more things on your ribbon. I'm going to change this font to this one is my favorite, Chelsea Market. I like that one. And I think I also need to make my font bigger. So while it's selected, I come up here to the size, and I'm going to make it pretty large, okay? You can make it whatever size you would like, but if it's a title, it should be pretty big. And then down here in this text box, it says buy. Well, same thing, I'm going to change that. I kind of like this as a secondary font, and I want to make this bigger. And I would put my name. I'm Mrs. Kessel, but you're going to put your first name and your last name, okay? Make sure you put both. So we know this presentation is called My Favorite Wild Animal, and it's by Mrs. Kessel. Yours should look similar, but you can choose any font you want, and you just make it big. In fact, actually, I would like everyone to make theirs size 48. Can we all make our size 48 to show me you know how to do it? Okay. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the next slide. When I do that, I now see that my theme is also on this slide. Okay. So we're talking about our favorite wild animal. I'm going to change this font again. I'm going to go back to that Chelsea Market, make all of my titles the same. And it says my favorite wild animal is. A wild animal is an animal that is not a pet. It is an animal that can only be found out in nature, like a tiger or a raccoon or a dolphin. My favorite wild animal would have to be, I think today my favorite wild animal would have to be a manatee. I love manatees. They live in the ocean and they are amazing. And I'm going to make that word bigger, and I am going to change the font on all of this box as well. I like Century Gothic. That's my favorite. This animal eats. Well, I happen to know that manatees like to eat seaweed and kelp. They're vegetarians. Scientists call them sea cows because they're like the cows of the sea, but they swim, they don't walk. Okay, that's what I know they like to eat. If you don't know, you can Google it. What does your favorite animal eat? Where does this animal live in the wild? I would say manatees live in the ocean. Manatees live in the ocean, and I put a period because that's a complete sentence. Once again, if you don't know where your animal lives in the wild, go look it up, okay? So do they live in the ocean? Do they live in the jungle? Do they live in a forest? Do they live in the desert? Do they live in the Arctic, the polar regions? Where does your favorite animal live? And the last one says classification. So your classification is what type of animal is it? Is this a mammal? Is this a reptile, an amphibian, a bird, or a fish? There are 5 major classifications for animals. If you aren't sure, click on this help sheet. This link will take you to a website that explains the difference between the classifications. Okay, so about amphibians, and it gives some examples of amphibians, birds, gives examples of birds, and so on. So if you aren't sure, use this help sheet to help you. I happen to know that manatees are mammals, just like humans. Manatees are mammals, okay? So now I have changed the font. I have changed the font size by just clicking up here. I have changed the theme of my whole slideshow. When I change the theme, it does the whole slideshow, okay? And I have popped out my doc into Google Slides. The last thing I have to do is submit my work. So I go back to my Schoology tab, and you notice everything is changed in Schoology. When you change something in Google Docs or Google Slides, it automatically changes it in Schoology, okay? The last thing I have to do is click Submit Assignment. And then it says, are you sure you want to submit the assignment? You do not submit it unless it is done. I have had some people turning in work to me and they haven't even started it. That would be like Mrs. Kessel giving you a piece of paper to work on and you just handing the blank paper back to me. Don't do that. Make sure you do your work, okay? So I am going to click Yes, Submit. And now it is turned in and Mrs. Kessel has it and can grade you. If you don't click Submit, I can't grade you, okay? So let's go back. We will be able to connect our Schoology to Google Drive. Once again, if you don't know how to do that, watch the little video that's in this week's folder. We learned how to open a Google slideshow inside of Schoology. I showed you how to pop it out by clicking the Edit button. We saw how to change the theme. We saw how to change a font. We saw how to change a font size. And you were able to type information in the text boxes. You also by now should have submitted your work, and we had that bonus of learning how to split our screens on a Chromebook and on a Mac. So please make sure your work is turned in and that it is your absolute best work you would be proud of. I can't wait to take a look at it. I'll see it soon, and I'll see you soon. Bye.